Hello there, boys and girls. My name is Adam Nicholas, and I am very excited because Edge is back. He is returned to the WWE. He turned up at last night's Royal Rumble at number 21. And I know what you're thinking. But Adam, this is a list all about attires. What's Edge got to do with any of this? It doesn't matter. If it was up to me, Edge would be every single entry on this list today because Edge is back. Oh, on this day, I see clearly. But yes, I am a professional, and all of my Edge excitement aside, we do still have a job to do, and it's to show you all of the lovely attires that turned up at last night's Royal Rumble. Now, obviously, this is the beginning of the road to WrestleMania, and as always, that means you want to look your best, you want to dress to impress, and you want to beat the rest. Chuck everybody over the top rope and look great doing it before you point at the sign and book your ticket to WrestleMania. And now that we have the luxury of two Royal Rumbles, of course the Women's Royal Rumble and the Men's Royal Rumble, it means you're almost guaranteed 30 fantastic looking superstars and potentially a lot of fodder for us to do this very video. So without further ado, because, well, to be honest, if I keep talking, I'm just going to get overly excited and keep talking about Edge all the way through this intro, and nothing is going to get done. So, with that in mind, my name is Adam Nicholas. I am in a fantastic mood, and this is the 12 hidden meanings behind WWE Royal Rumble 2020 attires. Number 12, Sheamus's Old School trunks. Now, for anybody who's been paying attention to SmackDown, obviously Sheamus has returned and he is looking better than ever, although he's taken a little bit of a, well, you could say actually he's taken a page out of Finn Balor's book, because it would seem that his future is now his past. And while he has given us a bit of a modernized version of his previous look from around the 2012 kind of era, this time he went all the way back for his match with Shorty G, which of course he got the win for when he actually rocked up in his old, and I'm always going to get this wrong, so apologies to everyone in Ireland for this, Loch? I'm going to go with Loch. I think it's Loch. On the trunks, we all remember the iconic look of Sheamus from when he was the world champion, and yeah, I guess it worked out for him because he ended up beating the crap out of Shorty G and continued to just put right what he sees, all the wrongs that are going on SmackDown at the moment. Number 11, Alexa Bliss mirrors Bret Hart. Now, this is possibly by accident, but you'd like to think that it's by design, because Alexa Bliss was relishing her opportunity as the number one spot in the Women's Royal Rumble last night by coming to the ring in a leather jacket adorned in pink little bits, very similar to a guy who was the very first number one entrant in a Royal Rumble. I am, of course, talking about Bret Hart and his famous pink and black ensemble, not to mention the famous leather jacket adorned with pink little bits. But he was the man who came out in the 1988 inaugural Royal Rumble to get proceedings started. And if you're going to come out with number one as well, who better to emulate than the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Number 10, Lana conjures Captain Marvel. Now, she won't be the first. In fact, I think she's already done it herself previously, and she certainly won't be the last. But Lana came out in a full-on Captain Marvel inspired attire yesterday in both colour scheme and emblems across her gear. And it's funny, really, because for the person who was arguably the superhero of 2019, it's fair to say Lana is the supervillain of 2020. Nevertheless, she was looking to channel Marvel's superhero to right the wrongs of the 2019 Royal Rumble, where Becky Lynch came in her place after she was brutally destroyed by Nia Jax. But it didn't really work out for her, did it, to be honest? She got chucked over the top. And that's the end of that one. Number 9, Liv Morgan is Spider-Man's Black Cat. Now, I'm going to level with you here. I mean, she could just be wearing a black getup, but let's be honest, that would be rather boring. And in my headcanon, where everybody is doing something for a reason, she's dressed as the Black Cat because she's channeling a bit of Felicia Hardy from the Marvel Comics. There's a little bit of precedent here. I'm not just completely out of my mind, because she is currently, or is being presented to us, as a former lover of Lana, someone who's been involved in one of the most dramatic weddings, I guess we could call it, in WWE history. Well, Felicia Hardy and the Black Cat were also involved in some dramatic weddings with Spider-Man, as well as being a love interest to that main character. Am I just putting these pieces together for the sake of a video? Well, so what if I am? Number 8, Zelina Vega becomes Mortal Kombat's Sindel. Now, it's fair to say that Zelina Vega hasn't exactly been shy when it's come to referencing her favourite fighting games from the past. I mean, think back to the Royal Rumble last year, where she turned up as Vega. You see, not only a reference to Street Fighter's Vega, but of course, it's her surname too. Would you look at that? And while she did turn to Street Fighter last year for her inspiration, this year she turned her attention to Mortal Kombat and turned up for Royal Rumble 2020 dressed as none other than Sindel. Now, when you get an attire that's just that good already, just because of the colour scheme, I mean, those purples and those silvers together, lovely stuff, whether it's on the character or to see them in real life. Fantastic altogether. But let's be honest, if Selena Vega is going to continue down this road, we've seen Street Fighter, we've seen Mortal Kombat, all I'm saying is, Selena Vega, if you are watching this, I mean, Tekken, you know, Tekken's out there, Yoshimitsu, have a little dabble in that. Just a thought. Number 7, Tegan Knox, the night's second Captain Marvel. Yes, as we mentioned previously, Lana was not the only one who came down in some Captain Marvel inspired gear last night. The other one, of course, was Tegan Knox. Now I have to say, Knox is a lot more fitting of the superhero in question because she's a lot more virtuous in this department. She's certainly a lot better of a person, certainly on TV at least, than we have been presented when it comes to Lana. And this was a big night for Tegan Knox. Let's not forget that she obviously had a massively career-threatening injury previously on her knee. She'd done both knees prior to this. And then in storyline, she was technically injured at the hands of Dakota Kai. Well, she's returned, and here she is for her first ever Royal Rumble match. And I'll be honest, that's enough to celebrate. And why not celebrate looking like one of the baddest women on the planet in Captain Marvel? Or on any planet, for that matter, actually. She goes anywhere she wants. She's Captain Marvel. Duh. Although I have to say, while Captain Marvel's good, she's not quite as good as these two. Number 6, Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler fly NXT's colours. Now, if you're a fan of NXT, then you will have absolutely loved the Women's Royal Rumble in particular. Not to say that the men's wasn't great, but it was a real shining example of the women's division in NXT that was on show at last night's Royal Rumble. And between the EST of NXT, Bianca Belair, and the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler, you won't find two better representatives for that brand. So what better way for them to represent than to rock up in these fantastic black and gold adorned attires? I mean, listen, we all know it's the best brand on WWE's television. These guys are the best. This might even be the best division in wrestling, full stop. A brilliant showing for both women. Bianca Belair beating the women's elimination record in this Royal Rumble, and Shayna Baszler turning up at number 30, cleaning house and causing all sorts of havoc. This was as good as you could expect from NXT, and why not wear this fantastic brand's fantastic theme, fantastic colour scheme, just to fly the flag a little bit more. Number 5, Bayley the Snake. Now, ever since her heel turn in the weeks and months that have come after it, we've seen Bayley slowly but surely pull away all of those traits from her old babyface character that the WWE Universe absolutely loved. And a bright colour scheme has always been one of her most sellable traits, I guess, in terms of merch and all of the fans and what they can get from her. So of course, she turns up in this lovely monochromatic ring gear. And as always, when it comes to Bayley, the devil is in the details. She's one of those superstars who really does pay attention to her ring attires. Very sentimental, very well thought out, as she should be, like any good performer. And if you look closer, you can see there's a snakeskin pattern embroidered on both the top and pants of her ring gear. And let's be honest, what does a snake always associate with in WWE? No, not Randy Orton or the Viper, if you will, but just obviously being a bit of a bad person, a bit of a heel, a bit of a snake. There you go. Number 4, Lacey Evans nods to her military background. With a recent character change that's seen her become a Vince McMahon-inspired babyface, who's obviously very big when it comes to the troops, we are now seeing Lacey Evans really embrace her military background on all aspects of her character. So much so, in fact, that we got her camouflage-adorned ring gear at the Royal Rumble 2020. If there's one thing in WWE you need to do, it's impress the boss. And as we know, Vince McMahon is big on his relationship with the military, big on his relationship when it comes to the likes of tribute to the troops. So Lacey Evans here, doubling down on her military background, makes sense, to be honest. Love the ring gear, and obviously she knows, much like one John Cena, that a big old salute is gonna get you a long way in this company. If she's got dreams of becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion, or even the Raw Women's Champion, maybe somewhere down the line, then this is the way to do it. Lacey Evans, we salute you. Number 3, Rey Mysterio as Batman. Now, if you've ever watched any of these hidden meanings videos before, you'll know that Rey Mysterio is a frequent flyer, shall we call him perhaps, no pun intended there, but it's mostly because he absolutely goddamn loves comic books and he loves putting them on his ring gear. He turned up for last night's Royal Rumble dressed as Batman, and to be honest, in the predicament he was in, heading into the Royal Rumble to take on Brock Lesnar, who to this point had just been tossing people over the ropes like they were nothing, it was going to take something pretty damn super heroic to beat that guy, a beast far more terrifying than even Bane. But despite coming dressed as Gotham's favourite son, unfortunately, Rey Mysterio would not win this year's Royal Rumble because, unfortunately, sometimes in life, there are villains so strong and so powerful that you just can't beat them. And even putting on a Batman cosplay doesn't help you. Number 2, MVP as Black Panther. Making his first in-ring appearance for the company since he walked away from the organization back in 2010, Montel Vontavious Porter is back in WWE. Again, like Captain Marvel, certainly not the first superstar to turn up in this gear, but MVP turned up adorned in some Black Panther gear. Now, I've got to be honest, this was sick. It was so cool. Really, really well designed. I don't know who did it. I'm gonna have to look that up, and if I find them, I will eventually have linked them here. Cool to see him back, and even Booker T was impressed. Although, was it impressed, or was it a bit of sauce? I don't know. He basically said he looked like he came from Wakanda, which, duh, that was the point. And number 1, Edge's tribute to his family. Now, I've got to be honest, I've been a little bit naughty here because Michael Hamflett writes this article and he only did 11 hidden meanings for this article, and normally whatever he writes is exactly what I present because I am true and honor the words in the article. But if you think for a second that I'm gonna let Edge return at the Royal Rumble 2020 and not put him on this list, not take the opportunity to make him number 1 on the list, 9 years since he wrestled and 10 years since he won the Royal Rumble, and I'm just gonna miss him off this list? You think you know me? But yes, the ultimate opportunist, the rated R superstar, returned at the Royal Rumble 2020. My favourite wrestler on earth is back. He looked grizzled in the face and chiseled in the body. I'm stealing that line off you, Michael Hamflett. I don't care. Obviously, the jacket was cool as hell, as you would expect. And the colouring of the gear was even better. I'm actually told, potentially, the colour of his gear from when he first started in WWE. Now, adorned on either side of his tights was a bunch of typical Edge iconography. Of course, we got his name, for starters, Edge, right across the top of this symbol. Then, you had the typical Edge sort of rock and roll right in the middle. Oh God, so good stuff. But that was sort of blended in to a skull's head, and we obviously know Edge's affinity with skulls. He has so many tattooed from Day of the Dead-esque skulls on his body. And one thing that's more important to Edge than ever, you'd imagine, is family. And at the bottom of this iconography was 3 lovely little red roses to represent, of course, his lovely wife, Beth Phoenix, who was in the Women's Royal Rumble. Absolutely stellar showing from her. And of course, his 2 daughters at the bottom, because of course they were. Even bringing wrestling back into his life, Edge still knows the 3 things that are most important to him in this world and made sure to get them on his ring gear. So there you have it. Those are all of the hidden attires for the Royal Rumble 2020 that we managed to find. Now, yes, as always, we aren't going to get them all. We've probably missed some glaringly obvious ones, and you all have far better knowledge especially when it comes to stuff in Texas and in Houston, because you do, you're over there, aren't you, some of you? So let us know your thoughts in the comments down below about everything we said. Let us know ones we missed out, and maybe just tell us all how excited you are that Edge is back in WWE, because I personally am losing my mind a little bit, and trying to do a video at the same time has proven to be quite difficult. I tell you what, on a day that really needed some good news, Edge coming back was some bloody good news, and it has filled my little well of happiness up for quite some time. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and share. Hit the old subscribe button if you haven't already. You can find the original article for this at whatculture.com/WWE. That's by Michael Hamflett. Don't be mad at me, Michael Hamflett, that I changed it. It needed to happen. You can follow What Culture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, or you can follow me on Twitter at It's Adam Nicholas. Or maybe you just want some more videos, and if you do, they're right over here somewhere. Oh my God, Edge is back, and he's got a 3-year contract potentially. Oh, what's Vince gonna do to ruin this at WrestleMania? Who knows? Anyway, I've been Adam Nicholas. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.